We now call to order the induction ceremony for the 2018 chapter of the Beverly High School National Honor Society. If you would please rise and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance as led by 2018 NHS inductee Thomas Layton. Afterwards, please remain standing for a performance of our national anthem by the BHS Vocal Ensemble, led by Lynn Polanin-Kudlik.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Dr. Hershey, Dr. Schroeshek, Mrs. Taylor, Mrs. Fecto, members of the faculty, parents, and students. Welcome to the 2018 National Honor Society Induction Ceremony. We are gathered here to formally recognize those students who have been selected by the faculty of this school for successfully completing their candidacy and who are now being inducted as new members of the chapter. For current members and those former members who may be among our guests, we hope this will serve to remind you of the standards of excellence that you too are charged with maintaining. As are members of the nation's oldest, largest, and most prestigious student recognition program. Our chapter is proud to have been introducing new members for many years, and today's ceremony indicates a continuing emphasis on excellence that we represent for our school and for our community. Throughout this year, members of our chapter have served as role models for other students. However, this would not have been possible without the support of influential teachers within our community. I would like to take this moment this evening to recognize those individuals. Would all of those teachers invited here this evening please stand and be recognized? In addition to the strong academic records which establish the eligibility for membership, our chapter members are leaders in many student organizations. We serve our school and we serve our community. In the last year alone, our chapter has taken part in many activities, including a biannual Red Cross blood drive, as well as fundraisers to donate money towards disaster relief in the Dominican Republic and Haiti, as well as a fantastic number of hours our members have contributed individually. I'm elated to announce that throughout this last year, our members have contributed over 4,000 hours of community service in and around Beverly. We are proud of this record of our accomplishment, and we welcome these new members who bring with them new energy and support in continuing our work as NHS members. And now, please welcome our principal, Mrs. Betty Taylor, who will offer some congratulatory remarks to our new members.
Good evening, Dr. Hershey, Dr. Chirochek, school community members, parents, and guests. I first want to recognize and thank the National Honor Society advisors, Ms. Barbara Fecto and Mr. Sam Stanchel, for all their work with students. The role of NHS advisor requires organizational skills and respect and affection for students, all of which they have in abundance. Congratulations and welcome to the educators who've been invited tonight by a National Honor Society member. Educators can't always be sure of the impact of their teaching, but tonight, you know you made a difference in the life of a student. I also want to acknowledge the parents and guardians of our National Honor Society students. You have a right to be proud of your child, and you can take a little credit for the person that they've become. Students, I think this is a good time to acknowledge the efforts of your parents with some applause. We're gathered here tonight to recognize the students on stage for their achievement on being inducted in the National Honor Society. When I look at these young people, I cannot help but be reminded of Ebenezer Scrooge. Allow me to explain further. I'm not saying they're examples of squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old sinners, as Dickens said of Scrooge. I'm saying is that, like Scrooge and the story of A Christmas Carol, these young men and women remind me of the power of redemption, transformation, and hope. You all know the story of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. You've probably seen it in one form or another over the years. There are all kinds of dramatizations of A Christmas Carol, including the old black and white version, a musical version, a cartoon Mr. Magoo version, a comedy with Bill Murray, that creepy Jim Carrey CGI version, our North Shore Music Theater's annual Christmas Carol, and my personal favorite, The Muppets Christmas Carol. See? The story is about a man who gets a second chance, an opportunity to make amends and begin again. It's a familiar story, but there is one scene in A Christmas Carol that affects me every time I see it. It's after Scrooge has been with the second spirit, the ghost of Christmas Present, who travels the world spreading goodwill and cheer. Scrooge notices two children hiding under the ghost's robe, and he asks if they are the ghost's children. The ghost replies, "They are man's. This boy is ignorance, and this girl is want. Beware them both in all of their degree, but most of all, beware this boy." I guess it gets to me because Dickens wrote his story in 1843, warning of the two great evils in the world, and here we are in 2018, and we still must beware ignorance and want, maybe even more than ever. It makes me sad because I don't want my children and these children to have to deal with those issues of ignorance and want. I don't want a world dominated by ignorance and want. We need to first recognize where and when these two evils appear. Ignorance is not merely a lack of education. Education and knowledge is important, but education alone will not prevent ignorance. Ignorance is the willful arrogance that you know best. It's the intolerance for other perspectives. It is the cynical disregard for the values of sincerity, forbearance, and kindness. We all understand that want or poverty is a problem. What we sometimes forget in our ignorance is that it's not a character flaw. Want is a sister to ignorance because, like ignorance, it spreads hopelessness, desperation, bigotry, and loneliness. The young adults in front of me have been selected as members of the National Honor Society because they've met the qualifications of the membership. These qualities are scholarship, leadership, service, and character. These students have worked hard to meet these qualifications, and I admire their pursuit of their goal. But although we congratulate them tonight, their work is not finished. They have to continue the development of character, service, leadership, and scholarship. These are the qualities we need to fight want and ignorance. They're still with us. So please beware. Use your scholarship to enlighten and inform. Provide guidance and courage with your leadership. Show humility and kindness with your service. Develop your character. Develop integrity and dignity and tolerance. Develop the goodness within you. Please help us ward off ignorance and want in our world today. So when I look at these young men and women, I see Mr. Scrooge. I see a second chance for us all. I see hope. I see in front of me possibility and opportunity. And I know, to paraphrase Dickens, that you all can become as good a friend, as good a master, as good a person as this good old city knew. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. It is at this time that we proclaim to all in attendance that membership to the Beverly High School chapter of the National Honor Society has been earned by these candidates through the effective demonstration of 4 qualities that serve as the standards of our society. Members of the chapter will now review these qualities for our candidates. To begin, scholarship.
Scholarship denotes a commitment to learning. A student is willing to spend hours in reading and study, knowing the lasting benefits of a cultivated mind. We should continue to learn even when formal education has ended, for human education ends only with the end of life. Knowledge is one great element in life which leads to the highest success, and it can be acquired in only one way, through diligence and effort. Learning furnishes the lamp by which we read the past, the torch guiding us to understand the present, and the light that illuminates the future. Candidates have the charge to continually expand their world through the opportunities inherent in scholarship.
Service.
My office is service. Service can be established in the routine of the day's work where many opportunities arise to help others both at school and in the community. A willingness to work for the benefit of those in need without monetary compensation or public recognition is the quality we seek in our membership and promote to the entire student body. We are committed to volunteering our time and talents for the creation of a better tomorrow.
Leadership.
Leadership should exert a wholesome influence on the school. In taking initiative in the classroom and in school activities, the real leader strives to train and aid others to reach their common goals of success. The price of leadership is sacrifice, the willingness to yield one's personal interests for the interests of others. A leader has self-confidence and will go forward when others hesitate. No matter what power and resources may exist in a school, community, or nation, they are ineffectual without the guidance of a wise leader. Leadership is always needed. Thus, to lead is a meaningful and substantive charge to each of our members. To quote John F. Kennedy, leadership and learning are indispensable to each other.
Character.
Character is the force within the individual that distinguishes each person from others. It creates for each of us our individuality, our goodness. It is that without which no one can respect oneself, nor hope to attain the respect of others. It is this force of character that guides one through life, and, once developed, grows steadily within. Character is achieved and not received. It is the product of constant thought and action, the daily striving to make the right choice. The problem of character is the problem of self-control. We must be in reality what we wish to appear to others, to be rather than to seem. By demonstrating such qualities as respect, responsibility, trustworthiness, fairness, caring, and citizenship, we may hope to prove by example that we value character.
At this time, will the new inductees please rise and raise your right hand and repeat the pledge. I pledge to uphold the high purposes of the National Honor Society, to which I have been selected. I will be true to the principles for which it stands, and will maintain and encourage the high standards of scholarship, leadership, service, and character. Thank you. You may be seated. And now, as your name is called, please step forward to receive your certificates of membership. Emily Pratt. Tola McGinnis. Molly Pierce. Mackenzie Bauer. Sabrina Beaudry. Alexandra Berg. Jordan Butters. Olivia Bird. Aiden Cahill. Eunice Shalaby. Anjali Shadra. Andrew Chapman. Megan Catraro. Beatrice Crocker. Roberto Cruz. Emily DePiro. Hannah Duguid. Anna Edson. Alexandra Enos. Samantha Fafard. George Fox. Simone French. Eden Gerengoni. McKenna Gelsamini. Thomas George. Emily Goodrich. Zachary Hall. Joshua Hildreth. Amanda Hufford. Helen Hurley. Catherine Johnson. Isabel Kelly. Claire Knott. Thomas Lighton. Katarina Liederbach. Neve Lyons. Natalie Matthews. Sophia McGarrigle. Lena Marr. Josephine Miller. Anderson Moran. Nicholas Morrissey. Catherine Mulligan. Caroline Murphy. Anna Murphy. Ganad Neka. Remy Normand. Cara Norris. Marley Norton. Julia Pittman. John Renda. Olivia Sala. Mason Selly. Michael Silvera. Lucy Smallman. Justin Smith. Lydia Steigers. Natalie Stillwell. Nicolette Tetrop. Arbisa Tribeca. Sarah Vallette. Bryce Visnick. Jake Woolley. Emily Zepp. Eleanor Brown. Amanda Desmond. Libby Panico. Rory Devlin. Each year, the incoming inductees ask an important individual in their lives to come and speak at this event. This year, the students have elected to ask one of their most influential teachers. At this time, we would like to invite Mrs. Julia Brotherton to the podium to share a few words.
Good evening. Congratulations on your induction into the National Honor Society. It's so nice to see so many faces I know here tonight. All of you and all of your parents have a right to be very proud of your accomplishments. You are tomorrow's leaders. You were each chosen to be members of this society because your outstanding achievements in service, character, leadership, and scholarship. I'm sure that you will continue to achieve in these areas. You will go to college to study engineering, biology, marketing, literature, chemistry, psychology, foreign languages, and my personal favorite, history. But no matter what you study, no matter what career you pursue in the future, there's one thing you all have in common. You will all soon have the right to vote. And that's something. Right here in America, a little over 150 years ago, only white men could vote. Less than 100 years ago, women in America weren't allowed to vote. Less than 50 years ago, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds were not allowed to vote. It's been a long struggle to get to where we are today. Luckily, you don't have to fight for the right to vote like so many Americans did before you. But as your generation's leaders, you have a special obligation to exercise it. According to the United States Election Project, eligible voters between the ages of 18 and 29 have had the lowest turnout rate of any age group. You can change that. How many of you are registered to vote? How many? So good. This is great. In a room full of leaders, those are your leaders. And each of you can join their ranks as soon as tomorrow. Here's how. Some of you may have done this today when Westlake Beverly City Clerk was here at lunchtime registering voters. In Massachusetts, you can pre-register to vote when you turn 16, and you can do it online. Just Google register to vote in Massachusetts, and if you have a driver's license, you'll be done in less than 10 minutes. Then, when you turn 18, you'll be automatically entered into the voting rolls. Registering to vote is easier than getting a driver's license, than running a mile, than writing your college application, and it's way easier than choosing a prom outfit. As leaders, you also need to encourage your friends, and when the time comes, your younger brothers and sisters to register to vote as well. Next, learn about the issues and the candidates so you can make up your own mind about them. This is also easy if you make a habit out of it. Use the scholarship skills you've developed here at Beverly High by staying informed, and find a way that works with your busy life. Listen to NPR when you're riding to school or work. NPR is not perfect, but it's one of the best sources, and it's easily accessible. Put a trusted newsfeed app in your phone and read that along with Instagram and Snapchat when you're standing in line or waiting for class to begin. Find a news podcast that you like, then listen to it regularly while you're working out or while you're helping your parents clean the house. Talk to people whose opinions you trust. To avoid being taken in by fake news, look for citations. Look for original sources. They're out there if you look. And if you can't find them, don't share. If you make this form of scholarship a habit in the same way that you have done so well with your schoolwork all these years, you'll find that it's easy to stay informed. It can also be fun. In 2016, when faced with something like 15 ballot questions and candidates to consider on the San Francisco ballot, my daughter Louisa threw a party where she and her friends had a few beers and went over each one of the ballot issues to decide how to vote. Yes, she was over 21. And it's really easy to vote. If you turn 18 before November, start your voting habit now. Make your plan to go to the polls before or after school or work, and make a habit out of voting at around the same time of day every year. Studies of voting patterns show that just like working out, doing your homework, or brushing your teeth, making a habit out of it will increase your likelihood of voting. I myself have voted in every election, both local and federal, since I turned 18. And that was over 10 years ago. Learn about how easy it is to vote absentee. This is especially important for young voters like you. When I went away to college in Montreal, I still voted by absentee ballot. When I taught school first in Norway and later in England for a year, I still voted by absentee ballot. One November, back in the late 80s, I was hundreds of miles out to sea on the Atlantic Ocean, but I still voted by absentee ballot. You can too. Americans vote while serving overseas in the armed forces and while in the hospital by absentee ballot. You are all preparing to undertake the exciting next step in your lives, so many of you won't be here in Beverly when you first become eligible to vote. Don't let that stop you from voting. Before you leave for college, pop over to City Hall and pick up and complete an absentee ballot request. This is also really easy, but if you don't quite get to it before you leave, I'm sure your parents will be happy to help you get one, as I did for my son Owen last year. In addition, as leaders, it helps voter turnout if you tell your friends, in person and on social media, when you voted, and encourage them to do the same. Voting is easier than finding a summer job, than taking a final exam, or filing your taxes, and it's way more satisfying. Historically, young people waste their votes by not showing up. You can be the ones who are going to change that forever. Voting for candidates whose beliefs we share is one of the best tools we have for making the world a better, safer, more just place. Those of you in this room tonight are an impressive group. You're going to be, you already are, some of our generation's most important leaders. You work hard, you think carefully, you care about people, and you get things done. And whether you go on to be a social worker, a lawyer, a doctor, an auto mechanic, or a short order cook, or you find yourself in a new career that is only now being invented, one of your most important jobs will always be to be a voter. In the words of our 32nd president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, nobody will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote except the American people themselves. And the only way they could do this is by not voting. I think your generation is not going to let that happen. So get out there and vote. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Brotherton. Thank you all for attending the NHS induction ceremony. In just a moment, the new inductees will recess, after which you are all invited to join us in the cafeteria for a reception in their honor. But before doing so, please join me once again in a round of applause for our new Honor Society members. And now will you all please stand as they recess.